All right, well, thank you so much once more for watching us. It's the People's Tele Ogtv 25 UHF, and we are starting our discussion segment this morning by looking at a topic that has refused to go away in our national life, and that's kidnapping. How can we curb the menace of kidnapping is what we are looking at this morning. We've got in the studio this morning National PRO of a Vigilante Group of Nigeria, Mr. Olarinwaju Adedoyin. Good morning, Mr. Adedoyin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much
for joining us. We also have with us this morning a scholar, a mass comm lecturer from Crescent University here in Abeokuta, Mr. Jamiu Folani. Mr. Folani, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Let's
start from you. How does it make you feel regularly when you wake up in the morning and the first thing, or one of the first few news items I read, you hear about one story of kidnapping in any part of Nigeria?
In simple terms, it's not good for the health of an average person to wake up with a sad news. And it affects the psychology and the makeup of an individual. So just like every Nigerian, when you wake up in the morning and the first thing you get to watch, read or hear on the media is negative stories. It does not go well, not only for individual, for groups, and for the country at large. And it has a lot of implication on individual in terms of health, in terms of the psychological makeup and the well-being of individual, group, and even the country, economic issue, and the effects, the long-term effect of such issue when you emphasize and we have more of negative issues around us. It has effect on our social, cultural, economic well-being. So when I wake up in the morning, it's unfortunate that what we come to realize or see is negative story, and one of such is kidnapping. And it's unfortunate.
It's refusing to go away in Nigeria. Almost every day there is one person is kidnapped. Maybe the PRO of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria will give us that statistics from, especially from the point of view of Ogun State. But before we come to that, it's refusing to go away. And to some people, they are saying that some of these things have become business. Some people have seen that kidnapping has become a lucrative business, and so they're also going into it. It's like it's becoming a profession in Nigeria, a norm in the country.
Yes, the simple reason for that is that the benefit is higher than the costs. Those involving in kidnapping believe that the benefit they will derive from such criminal acts outweigh and is more than the cost, and as a result of it, it continues. And also, so we emphasize more on the problem than the solution, and that's one of the things that I'm here to advocate as a solution journalism fellow, that there are problems in our country truly, but there are people that are making an attempt to solve this problem. So when we do that, focusing on the solution, it will be part of how we are going to assist or look at ingenious way people are adopting to address the challenges of kidnapping in our country. So in terms of looking at the world generally, Nigeria has one of the highest cases of kidnapping in the world. And just like I mentioned earlier, it has social, political, economic implications in the country. So it's refusing to go away, one, because just like I mentioned, the costs the benefit outweighs the cost. Through the institutional framework for addressing the challenges associated with kidnapping has not been adequately addressed. And our value system also, whereby we glamorize criminals and in this country, is another factor that contributed to this. And until we bring more institutional framework or build our institutional in such a way that it will discourage people from engaging in these criminal acts, I think it will continue we continue to experience this. So that's my take.
One of the institutional frameworks, created, to actually reduce kidnapping is the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. But we have the PRO here, Mr. Adedoyin. How challenging has this been for you?
Thank you very much. If we are talking about kidnapping in this country, it's a kind of a problem that has been on for a very long time. And, government has tried all its possible best to bring down the menace of kidnapping, even though there is still more to be done by the government. And I want to say the public are not helping the situation enough.
How?
Thank you very much. We know our people. That is why the concept of community policing was introduced some time ago, I think in 2009. So that is a concept whereby you work hands in the glove with all security agencies, whereby if you notice anything within your community that is strange, the onus now lies on you, members of the public, to immediately alert the security agents that are closer to you. That is the essence of community policing. But, many at times, when members of the public notice strange faces or strange movement within their vicinity, they don't report. They don't report. Because somebody who is well known in a community will not try to attempt kidnapping, even though it occurs at times, but not all the time. Majority of kidnappings that occurred are being perpetrated by strangers, people who don't live in that area. Even though one way or the other, it will have the hands of one or two people residing in that area, because strangers cannot do it alone. It has got to a point that even physically challenged people are now engaging in kidnapping. Of recent, we heard of a cripple.
You have statistics to back that?
Yeah, a cripple that is trying to organize kidnap of two people that are assisting him, who are his helper. It happens around the north, where two sisters, they normally give stipends, food, things to this cripple. But the cripple at the end of the day organized their kidnap. And at the end of the day, one was killed, one was released. Yes. Okay. The other one is a cripple that was sending threatening message to one man. Can you imagine that? That if he did not pay him some amount of money, he will organize his kidnap. At the end of the day, police told the man that reported the case to play along. He played along. They organized some money, where they agreed to drop the money, where the money will be picked up by those who are sending the threatening messages. It was found out at the venue that it was even a crippled man that was sending the threatening messages.
Okay.
So where do we go from there?
Okay, looking at the dynamics of kidnapping in Nigeria, at some point we were told that a particular group of people were the ones, carrying out these activities, and then at some point you see the messages of the people that were kidnapped telling us that, in fact, their family members were also part of those you talked about, the insider that provides information as to who to kidnap and what they should get. So when you look at the dynamics, you mentioned that the people are not helping the security agencies, and yes, the people are also saying that the trust deficit between the security agencies and, of course, the people is still there. When you say something is wrong with you or something happened and you expect them to move, and you also complain about the challenges that you have, especially in terms of equipment and all that. So if we would have to move away from all those challenges, where exactly do you think we can start from now so that the trust can be back and then the people can be able to provide information for the security agencies to act?
Well, if you're talking about trust deficits, I know, yeah, members of the public at times do say that, but we can't continue to linger on that, because if you say you don't trust this particular agency of law enforcement administration, then who are you to go to? You must have relative trust in security agents. Though every agency have its own bad eggs, likewise there are good ones there. So you should be able to know who to interact with. Like if you want to interact with any security outfit, go for senior ones, the senior officers. They are educated, they know what they are doing, they know the essence of fundamental human rights, and they know the essence of keeping secret any information divulged to them. So it is better you have dealings with more senior officers. Look at what happened some times ago, which we are all living witnesses of, around Sabo, an uncle that organized the kidnap of of his brother's son. Can you imagine that? We are all living witness of that. But because members of the public that were around the vicinity where the dead body of that boy was dropped, around I think Enugada, that Enugada area, they were able to quickly alert the police at Enugada Police Divisional Headquarters there. And at the end of the day, look at the way police handled the matter very effectively. And at the end of the day, the perpetrators were arrested. That is the essence of giving information and having trust in security agencies. Okay,
that's fine. And another issue I would like to raise from what you said is the fact that information is key at this stage. And we see what some persons are saying, that if they don't get to punish these people, especially when you look at what has happened, Evan is still in the custody. When they say that you want something to get, you want to stop something, then you have to act swiftly, punish those that are involved. Do you see the relationship between how the kidnappers, especially the ones that we all perceived to be, he confessed, especially Evans now, he confessed to kidnapping, killing people and all of that. And then you see Wadume, there's another one from, I think, Benue, which is part. We see that they are still alive. We are still not getting to see when they are going to conclude their matter in court. And then you want that to be discouraged. That's something affecting the security agencies. Is it something that has to do with the psyche of the security agencies in prosecuting this, because of the people that have already been captured and then they have not been punished whatsoever? Yeah.
Thank you. If you look at that, you realize that that is one of the problems we have been talking about, because in criminology, there is what we call under-criminalization. That is a situation whereby some acts that are criminal in nature are handled with kid's glove, with less strict action. And what is the cause of this? It is still the deficiency and the loopholes in the law that we are using in this country. You see, every criminal tends to always look at the loopholes found in the law, and at the end of the day, they commit crime. Just like A has rightly said the other time, that many of them are now looking at kidnapping as a lucrative business. That's why they are venturing into it, whereas it is not. It is not, because that is where I want to come in on your own discussion the other time, that the benefits outweigh the cost. So it's not as if the benefits outweigh the cost. The benefit can never outweigh the cost, because we all know any criminal act in this country is punishable under the law, and nobody can bear the consequence of any punishment administered on any criminals. So it is because the law is not effective enough. That is why you still, how can Evans still be there? The prosecution supposed to have ended a long time ago. That is the delay in criminal justice administration, which many of us are crying and are speaking about, that criminal justice administration should be timely and effective.
Okay, going back to what he said right now, looking at Evans, he talked about information, when you speak, we divulge information to security agencies, and of course how they are able to protect that information. Do you see, as at the time Evans was actually arrested, do you see any connection between whatever he has said being used, because security agencies have also been indicted, into the spike in kidnapping in the country? Is that possibly going to be that they have access to certain information they are using against the public at this stage?
We've mentioned 2 points here: issue of information deficit and the importance of intelligence gathering when it comes to addressing the issue of kidnapping and crime in Nigeria. When you cited the example of Evans, what led to the arrest of Evans itself is of this criminal is the availability of information to the security agencies, and this information assisted in the arrest of Evans and other criminals, just like you mentioned. So one of the solutions, just like I mentioned earlier, that we should focus on the solution is that the security agencies should emphasize more on building trust among the members of the public. It's not enough to tell members of the public to supply information, but to ensure that whatever information they provided to the security agencies, they are well protected. Remember, about 2-3 years ago, there was a particular woman that reported some boys involved in criminal acts in Abuja. I think she works at the presidency, and at the end of the day, they were arrested, and the information leaked, even from the security agencies, that the woman provided the information that led to their arrest. And when they were released, the woman was killed. So as a result of that, that will discourage people from providing information. So the security agencies should focus more on protecting their source, the source of information. And that's one of the key aspects of intelligence gathering, that you must, whatever the sacrifice, protect the source of information. So when you do that, we have more information. And the more you have information about the activities of criminals, the better for the security agencies. So looking at what happened in this country, the arrest of Evans and the delay in the prosecution, is not that we are not talking about whether issue of kidnapping is has benefit to the country. We are talking about the individual. And the law we mentioned is also one of the reasons why kidnappers, because they know they will hide under the law. Evans, you mentioned, bring about, I think, if I could recall, the image laundering. There was a form of image laundering when he was arrested, that he employed the service of public relations experts, calling on his family to tell members of the public how they are sorry about what happened. And that's just to tell you the extent that of the benefits, that yes, if I committed this crime, if I could invest little amount of money in doing PR, I think the matter will even fizzle out. And that's what is encouraging kidnappers. We are not saying that it has benefit to the members, to the society at large, but the benefit in terms of even the lacuna we mentioned about the law, about when you are even arrested, there is possibility that you take advantage of the loopholes in the law to get away with this crime. It's one of the benefits.
So what kind of punishment do you think can deter criminals, from going or going about it the way we've been having it?
There have been controversy about the right type of punishment, and there have been different suggestions. The present law states range from 1 to 20 years and life imprisonment for anyone convicted of kidnapping. And there are also advocacy for capital punishment for anyone that is convicted. So the matter is not about the punishment. The most important thing is to ensure that kidnappers or the crime, people are not encouraged to involve in the crime. Not about punishment.
But punishment has a way of deterring others in a way.
Punishment is not the absolute solution. Okay. One of it is look at the root of the problem. For example, our value system. You can't leave the problem with our value system and say you are addressing the issue of kidnapping with capital punishment. If the value system, if the way parents, the government, schools, and other agents of socialization, if they are not performing their responsibility, then whatever type of punishment you introduce, it might not work. So, for example, when we talk about, we had examples of where mothers, so to say, they form an association of criminally minded youths that they are providing economic support for them. So as a result of it, we have association of Yahoo boys, mothers of Yahoo boys. So imagine, that's one of the challenges we have in this country, where we glamorize crime. So it's not about punishment. When you introduce the punishment and the root cause of the problem, the value system is not addressed, then the people will say, okay, I will be killed, then I will leave money. People are having that orientation now that even if I'm arrested, I will spend some years in prison and I will come back. And it's an institution that will not be enough to ensure that punishment actually serves as deterrent to criminal acts. So punishment, yes, but that's not the absolute solution. The absolute solution is to address the cause of the problem, the root of the problem, which is stemmed from our value system. So our value system, we need the reorientation, we need to encourage professionalism and good behavior rather than glamorizing.
But when we talk about the value system and we talk about the need for us to emphasize more on that, and at the same time you see people that they don't have jobs and you preach a value system to them, they can't feed themselves. How far can that go in making sure we keep that we call value system?
Okay, there has been this question we've asked repeatedly that what's the relationship between crime and poverty? Is there any significant relationship between crime and poverty? The question is that there's no significant relationship. Whether the matter of being poor is a matter of the mind. Okay. You can have everything and you will still want to amass more if you don't have that discipline. You can have little and be contented, and that's why someone said richness is not about the material thing you have. Richness is about your contentment. So whatever you have, if you are contented with it, then you will be able to survive irrespective of the situation you find yourself. And value system we are talking about is the solution, because even if you are poor, so to say, you will live within your means. But if you are poor, you don't have the value system, you will continue, even if you have money, you continue to involve in criminal acts. So the value system matters a lot, and it will address the problem of kidnapping and criminal activities in Nigeria.
Okay, let's come back to Mr. Adedoyi now. I sometimes sympathize with law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. Just like every other sector, the question is, has always been, are you always adequately prepared for the challenge of a menace like kidnapping, in terms of arms and ammunition, in terms of intelligence gathering and the rest of that, I mean, we have President Muhammadu Buhari said was it this year or last year, that any header found with AK-47 rifle should be actually shot at. But we've also found out that official law enforcement agencies in Nigeria don't have weapons that can actually match the ones that you find in the hands of kidnappers and criminals that are in forests across Nigeria. How challenging is that for you?
Yeah, you are right. You see, though I can't speak for other agencies, I can only speak for the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. But what I would say is that, like in our own case, there is limitation to what we can actually bear to defend ourselves when we are going for operation. And we keep on trying our best, and we always make sure we have members of our group in almost all the communities. That is one of the strategies that we have adopted, so that we'll be able to have access to intelligence gathering and information. And not only that, we always organize training and retraining of our members across the country to keep them updated and fit, so that in case they encounter any menace of kidnapping, or they're caught that there is kidnapping activities going on anywhere, they'll be able to move in and do the needful. Example of such was when one of our members around Idemi, was coming from Obada. Along that route, there were some people, 2 of them, they were trying to kidnap one woman, and 2 of them were holding AK-47. This this our member, he wasn't with any rifle, he was with just cutlass. And with the kind of training that he has actually engaged in, he was able to deal with both of them. He rescued the woman and he collected the 2 AK-47.
1 against 2?
Yes, I'm telling you.
1 against 2?
Yeah, Imala Police Division Headquarters can bear witness to what I'm saying. Yes, he was able to deal with the 2 of them. He collected the 2 AK-47 from them. 1 escaped, and he was able to arrest.
Maybe he used something else. African style.
What other most he got the job?
I think we need to keep introducing that.
You will not want to reveal that on air. There's African science in your. But again, the thing is that anywhere in the world, if criminals, they bear more sophisticated, weapons than officials of law enforcement agencies, it's a big problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a problem. Because by the time both engage themselves, you see that one will have upper hand against the other. That is why the onus lies on the government, especially federal government, to keep all security agencies abreast of any weapon that they will need for their operation, be it Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, the police, all security agencies that bear arm. The best thing is for the federal government to make sure they equip them with latest and
because we said kidnapping is more of a community crime, and if you're talking about community police, you're talking about vigilante group of Nigeria. We're not really talking about you people. What kind of is yours voluntary service to Nigeria, or you're almost at the same level with the Nigerian police, Nigerian Army, the civil defense, and the rest of them?
Well, ours is for now a voluntary organization, even though a bill has been raised at the National Assembly that has actually been passed.
Okay.
That is awaiting presidential assent. And until that assent is given, then we'll become full-fledged federal government agency. But for now, what we have is just a bill at the National Assembly. And most of our operation is still voluntary.
So you guys are still doing the job, even with that?
Yeah.
You're still doing the job. Kudos to you. Simeon.
Yes, I was about asking him, he talked about the need to equip the security agencies, and one would ask again that is it the guns, the many guns that we have in circulation that could actually curb crimes, or that there are things we need to do fundamentally to get it right in the long run, especially because of the case of what we're experiencing in the northern part of the country, where the military are also coming out to say that it is not only military solution that can solve this problem. It's largely going to be a collaboration of the different institutions in the country. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, one of it is what you have just mentioned, and that is disarmament. Trying to gather all unlawful weapons that is within the disposal of public, members of the public who are not authorized to hold or to bear arms.
that are in possession of arms. The best thing is to first disarm all of them, gather the arms that they acquired illegally. And that is why I think federal government of recent raised a bill at the National Assembly on, I think, National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, under the Office of National Security Advisor, So it's one of these steps. There are still other steps that are involved, like the importation of drones. Drones can be easily acquired by the government. Why can't we have drones in excess? If we have drones can fly to anywhere. All the bushy areas, all the areas that comprises of uncompleted building, we can fly drones there to actually monitor what is happening there. All those remote areas where we don't find the presence of security agencies, we can deploy drones there to monitor what is going on there. And not only that, just as rightly said, our value system also. There are so many things that we need to inculcate in the minds of our children. Are we doing that as parents? Are we doing that as teachers? Gone are those days when you see students, when exam is coming, they will continue to read. Even when there's no light, they will light up their lantern and they will continue to read. But these days, how many you find students who are reading? Simply because they believe during the exam somebody will help them. Those are the areas where we have started getting it wrong. Because we are not inculcating the morals, the values that are supposed to be inculcated in these children. Right from infancy, what we are inculcating in them is wrong. And they will continue to grow like that. And
maybe Mr. Falan will actually help us out. He's in the academia. What has been your experience so far with students, not necessarily from Christian University? We are not spotlighting Christian University this morning. but we also know that these days the aspirations of students going to school have actually changed. People just go to school these days because they just want to acquire a certificate and come out of school. But it's really been tough for you, isn't it, in class? From
my experience, I've experimented with the primary school. I've experimented also with secondary school out there, and I'm presently experimenting with the tertiary institutions. And the experience is the same. The experience is the same, and it's pathetic that what we used to know about the reward for hard work is no longer there, and that is really discouraging the students and the youth of nowadays. Because when you don't have value or reward system commensurate with the efforts, especially in the education system, what you have is the type of experience we are having. Many of these youths are disoriented, they are demotivated to want to pursue legitimate means of livelihood because of the type of life they looked at and the model they look at in the society. They have what I refer to as a kwashiorkor understanding of what education is all about. So as a result of it, they consider education as not a means to an end. They consider it not as a means to an end. Why? Because they refer to, I think I also involved in a fact-checking where we look at whether information is factual or false. That's one of my area of research and interrogation. That the cited example of Wole Soyinka, that Wole Soyinka had taught class, and he is one of the best in the world today. Though we fact-checked that Wole Soyinka never had taught class. And as a result of it, they say there was the essence of my certificate and education. That if Wole Soyinka had taught class and is the best, so I could do whatever I like in school. That's one kwashiorkor understanding of what education is. The other one is considering education as, the benefit of education as is limiting to getting job alone. There are people who go to school today not to improve their living or not to improve their the value system they call out to their life, to that of their family, to the society. But they are attending school because they want to get a job. And that's the only objective I've seen in many of the students. They are attending school not because they want to add value to the society, not because they want to be better individual, better wife, better husband, better person in the society, but because they want to get a job. That's another question. And education makes you a better person. It makes you a better individual.
But are they wrong?
Yes.
But are they really wrong? Because you find out that those who are getting the jobs are those who are also certificated.
Yes, there are a lot of factors responsible for this. I'm just identifying one of the factors. And as a result of this, they believe that, okay, even that's one. I have not even mentioned the other that says we have successful people that are first class in school and they are yet to get jobs. So what's the essence? Compare that with the example of Oleshenka I cited. So, but the question and what I always say is that, okay, we really fact-check that Oleshenka are third class. The other is, because Oleshenka are third class, let's assume that's correct hypothetically for the purpose of discussion. That does not mean that if you have third class, you are going to be successful. Because someone had first class and is still looking for a job, and that's the reality, truly. Does not mean that if you have first class, you will be looking for a job.
Being intelligent and being
yes, that's not absolute that you are going to be. So that value system, that's what I've observed, that people are not encouraged to go to school and to add value to their life. Education should add value to their life.
And they also see those who never went to school, or probably who dropped out of primary or secondary school, and they become very wealthy via the means of politics.
So they
don't see going to school. So they see they've seen, because that's another kettle of fish entirely. They see politics also as a means of enriching themselves even without going to school. So I mean, I guess that's also your mind. The dynamics to this is complex, and you mentioned about education. Just like I mentioned earlier, education is not basically going to school is not basically to get job, and that's a wrong perception of it. So, and it's not necessarily that you must go. You must if you are not educated, formal education. Yes. That's why we are even talking about education. Education goes beyond being literate. Exactly.
Education goes beyond literate. If you don't have formal education, that does not mean that you are not going to be successful. But formal education will allow you to do it better. So that's one. So in general term, the socialization process is faulty. Because as an individual, whatever I'm saying now, whatever the type of behavior I'm putting up, is not as a result of my parent alone. It's also a result of the type of school I attend, what I watch in the media, the type of friend I keep, even the government itself, the religious institutions. All these are the virus in all these institutions. So if the institution or the family institution is faulty, what do you expect of the type of children that will be brought up?
If you find the issue of parenting, as keep coming up, I think is one of the things that you both agreed, and I think I would just like you to tell us if at this stage the government should pay close attention as to how children are raised in their homes, making policies to guide them on how. I think that's. You could tell us.
Yes, it's not the responsibility of the government alone. It's the responsibility of all, because the government cannot train your children for you.
No, I'm saying that because we have identified the fact that parenting is a key factor as to what we have in the country of today and even globally. Is it time for us to pay close attention to how parents raise their children? Like, government should be interested in how you raise your children. I know of developed countries that you must meet basic things before you can call yourself a father, or because you can't be an irresponsible parent in such countries. Do you think it's time for us to get to that stage?
Yes, the government must pay attention. All stakeholders must pay attention on the type of individual we are breeding in this country. The type of crime we have in the society is the reflection of individual, and the reflection of the family is the reflection of the society. So you cannot isolate all these factors. Some of them are intervening variables. What we call intervening variables is that those things you don't even take into cognizance, just like the issue of parenting. We talked about Evans, we talked about criminal activities of people without looking at the type of home they emanated from. So it's time for all stakeholders, the government, the religious institutions, the media, the schools, and all stakeholders to ensure that the type of individual we are breeding in the society will add value, not create problem for the society. So policy, yes, government can encourage with policy, but what in this country, our policy has not been that working, because just like someone advised that maybe we should export some of our policies because we have good ideas, but the implementation is the issue. We can have policies, but how do we implement it?
Not because we are brought education dimension into it. It also appears to me over the years that Nigerians don't respect law enforcement agencies because they believe that majority of them have low education. For the vigilante group of Nigeria, is that a parameter for you, education, before people join you? Because ordinarily, if people look down on the Nigerian police, look down on the Nigerian army, Navy and the rest of them, they are likely to look down more on the Nigerian vigilante members of the Nigerian vigilante group because they believe that those ones are in the lower rung. So what the hell? Sometimes too, when a security agent flashes down a car, the feeling sometimes is that who is it to talk to me? And I think it's a general feeling among, especially the elites. They believe that security agents in Nigeria or agencies are populated by people who have low education. Is that it?
Well, in vigilante group of Nigeria, the minimum qualification one could possess before one
is accepted
to join us is school certs. That's the minimum.
Okay.
There are people that have more than that. We have professors in our midst. We have people with doctoral degree in our midst. We have people with master's degree, and many like that. So,
but does it reflect? Sometimes you can have a school cert holder who behaves more decently than someone who possesses a doctorate degree or a first degree. Because it's also about decent behaviors, professional behaviors. I'm sure you get the point.
I understand. All of us, we are from different backgrounds, and when we were growing, the kind of culture, norms, custom inculcated in us, we actually have a bearing on our behavior when we become an adult. So all these things taken into consideration affects how everybody who is serving as a law enforcer behave. And that is why we are not equal. Well, you see, many a times, people, especially members of the public, they look down on security agents simply because they believe they are of low class. Whereas the situation is not so. In a real sense, all law enforcers are emblems of law. They are emblems of law. And according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, everybody must respect the law. Once that is certain that we must respect the law, definitely, if you see emblem of law, you have to respect it.
Yeah.
That emblem. That is why we fought anybody who believes because he's a professor, because he's having a doctoral degree, and he has a counter with security agents. We don't want to respect them.
Honorable.
We must respect. Everybody is above the law.
I think one thing a lot of people will also talk about is the fact that the courage of the security officials.
Yeah, the courage.
On duty. You know, you flag down a vehicle, then the next thing you get to hear will be that, you know, anything for the boys and all of that. And that makes you feel, is this person doing his job or not? So I think there is also need to work on that aspect. Is that correct? And lastly, I would like you to tell us or to give us security tips for individuals. We've identified that family members are also part of the problem now. You know, they give information out, and of course, it's creating more problems in the aspect of kidnapping. So, give us security tips that could help the people watching us. Right?
Just a few.
Okay. Well, if anyone notices strange movements from his back, such a person should quickly get ready for any situation that may arise as a result of that. And not only that, if you are in a shopping mall and you are just coming out, you saw somebody leaning against your car, try and contact people who are nearby. Let them know that you are going towards your car and you can see there's somebody there, because you don't know the mission of that person who is leaning against your car. That is another one. Then another one is all our social life, social aspect of life. It is better we stop posting them on social media. All our affluences, our wealth, our means of livelihood, why are we posting it on social media? These are the areas whereby where criminals gather their own information from, and they will be able to know if we are rich or not. Then another thing is we should stop flamboyant spending, especially when we are at party. Some people will bring money out, they'll be spending it lavishly, and all these criminals are there, they are watching. Before you know it, they know the car you came with. Announcement will just be made by MC of that occasion that so car is blocking another car, so the owner should move towards the car so as to repark the car. And before you know it, once you are at the entrance of the door of your car, somebody will just come with gun in his hand and tell you to move in, and such a person will be kidnapped.
Well, that's a very interesting one. Mr. Falana, as we're closing, maybe just 1, 2, 3 sentences. The body language of the current administration in Nigeria, don't you think it's also encouraged kidnapping, you know, the growth of kidnapping in the country, the body language?
Body language?
Yeah.
The context, please, can you tell me?
Body language, that's the approach of government to stopping it, ending it effectively.
Okay. If what you mean by body language is the problem with our judicial system, for example, the criminal justice system, the way criminals are prosecuted, the type of law we have, and the long term it's required before you prosecute a kidnapper, or even the type of response from the government when there are accusations already that when we ethnicize security, that's one of the challenges we have, and this will go a long way in discouraging people from saying, the people in government are not responding enough. So if that's what you mean by body language, yes, it is form of, it will discourage people from wanting to contribute, because when they believe that government in power is not responding enough, or the type of law provided the opportunity for criminals to go away with their crime, then we may not have solution to this. So what is required is that for the government to change its body language to something that will be that will be welcomed by all. So in terms of response, that irrespective of the ethnic group that is affected, that the government should respect the same way, just like someone said, the type of language they understand. So if the type of language a particular ethnic group understand is to wage war on them because if someone is bringing down the fighting jet of the military, that's no longer just an ordinary crime, that's terrorism. So the type of response that we have for other type of people in one region should be the same response if they act criminally or the same way. So I think that's
but the language the time is showing us now is that we have to end this interview. But it's been a very interesting session with the two gentlemen, National PRO of Vigilante Group of Nigeria, Mr. Oluwanrewaju Adedoyin. Thank you so much. I enjoyed I think I've taken something out of the tips. The one that you gave us last, and I think I'll keep that in my diary every point in time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Mr. Jami Folani, the public analyst, lecturer in Mass Comm Department of Christian University. We also enjoyed your contributions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure
for joining us this morning. We'll take this break now. When we return, it's another topic on the program, Newdawn. Stay with us.